and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jody, and on my channel I talk about Broadway and books. And as you might be able to tell by the title of today's video, I will be talking about something on my channel today that I haven't talked about in quite some time now, which is Broadway. I thought I'd give a little bit of an update on my Broadway show series, as well as talking about some of the new musicals, new Broadway revival musicals that are opening or have opened already for this new theater season, like the first half, that look interesting to me. So that's what today's video is all about, and I'll just jump right on into today's video now. So I thought I'd give a little bit of an update on my Broadway show series on my channel, seeing as I haven't made any new videos in that series on my channel these last few months. The only reason for that is when I was organizing my Broadway playbills a few years ago, I thought I did a pretty okay job at it. But then as I've been making this series on my channel, going through all the shows that I've gone to see, I learned that I didn't do the best job at it. So, for example, I got to see a lot of shows more than once, and, very thankful for that. But when I would, for example, the next two shows in my series are both Hairspray. And when I would get to Hairspray, I would just see a Hairspray playbill and put it in the order of when I saw the show. But what I forgot to do is open up the playbill, make sure the month and year were in the correct order of when I saw the show. So a lot of my playbills are, out of order. And I just haven't felt like reorganizing everything these last few months. So that's the reason for that. But, this Broadway show series on my channel is a huge part of my channel, something I really enjoy making those videos for that series. I just really like looking back on all the shows I got to see when I was fortunate enough to be seeing shows on a regular basis. And so yeah, I definitely plan on getting back to the series at some point in the future on my channel. Just don't know exactly when, but the next two shows will be Hairspray, so that much I can say. But now on to next part of today's video, which is some of the new musicals, new Broadway revival musicals that look interesting to me that have started or will be starting in the first half of this new theater season that we find ourselves in. So yeah, I'll be going in the shows of when they started on Broadway, because a lot of these shows have started or will be starting. So I'll go in the order of that. All these shows are currently playing on Broadway with the exception of 3, I believe. But depending on when I put up this video, that number might be lower. It might, because a lot of these shows have started already, and some of these are starting when the next few days is what I mean. So with the exception of that, the first show I will be talking about today hasn't started yet. And I thought I'd just open this part of the video up with talking about this show, because this was the only show that I actually had a t-shirt for. So I'm wearing my t-shirt. You can't see the whole shirt, but I'm wearing my t-shirt for when I saw Elf in 2010. So Elf will be returning to Broadway for the 3rd time this winter. It will be playing from early November to early January, and the show will be starring Gray Henson of Mean Girls, the musical, who will be starring as Buddy in the show. The only thing different about this production versus the first two that played at Broadway is that the first two productions played at the Al Hirschfeld Theater a year apart from each other, and this production will playing at the Marriott Marquis Theater. So that's fun, and I just thought I'd share that little piece of, Broadway fun fact, if you will. And I'll eventually talk about my time seeing the show, but a Cliff Notes version, in case you're interested in seeing the show. I remember I liked it, and I remember I thought it was a really fun stage adaptation of the film. And another thing I really like about this show is that the songwriting team for this musical is the same songwriting team for my favorite Broadway musical of all time, which is the stage adaptation of The Wedding Singer. This songwriting team just writes amazing Broadway scores and really good songs. So I just thought I'd point that out, as well. The next show I'll be talking about today is a show that's been playing on Broadway for the last few months, which is Once Upon a Mattress. This new Broadway revival of the musical comedy started, I believe, on July 17th, and it's going to be playing through November 30th. It's playing at the Hudson Theater currently. It stars Sutton Foster, Michael Urie, Will Chase, and Anna Gasteyer. And in case you weren't aware, when this production closes on November 30th, it's going to transfer then to LA, where I believe it starts sometime in December. And I believe Sutton Foster will be reprising her role that she played on Broadway in the LA production. I'm not sure if any of the other cast members from the Broadway revival will be joining her in this production, but I'm pretty sure she's going to be in the production. So in case you can't make it to New York, there is a version. The show will be transferring to LA shortly afterwards. So that's pretty cool. The next Broadway revival that, looks interesting to me is the new Broadway revival, Sunset Boulevard. This new revival started on September 28th at the St. James Theater. I believe it's a limited run, but like with any show that's popular enough and there's an audience for it, I won't be surprised if the show like ends up extending past that limited run time that it more than likely has, because I'm pretty sure this is a limited run, but I'm not for sure. I myself, this was another production that I have seen in the past. I got to see the 2017 Broadway revival that starred Glenn Close, that played at the Palace Theater a few years ago. And like I said, since I saw the show, I won't delve too much into my thoughts on it because I'll talk about it eventually in my Broadway show series. What I will talk about is a little bit about the show, about the production I saw versus the production currently playing on Broadway, because it's very different from what I saw. So what I saw in 2017 was more or less a carbon copy of the original production. The set design was the same, the costumes were the same, the overall vibe of the show was the same. And the production currently playing on Broadway is the London transfer of the show that played, I believe, like a year ago in London. And the staging for this production is completely different than what I saw. Where I saw like, your typical huge Broadway kind of production of a show with the, like a set design and glamorous costumes. This production has basically no set. It's very much a digital based kind of production. Like I believe there are digital screens around the theater where it's digital. But there's that element that, of the show. And then also as far as costumes, it seems like more everyday kind of clothing. So the overall feeling of the show, I'm sure, is the same, but the look of the show is very different. And, when it comes to Broadway revivals, if I've seen a show and I really like it, but it's not like an all-time favorite, although I really, really, really do love Sunset Boulevard. I'm not opposed to seeing, a revival of a show make some changes. And this production, from what I've seen, it looks really strong. It looks really captivating, and I would love to see it, honestly. And yeah, the thing that really piqued my interest in this new revival of the show is I wasn't aware of this till recently, but I think it's like the very first number of the show. The one of the lead performers, sings Sunset Boulevard, and it's like a real moment in the show. And the production that they're currently doing is the performer is singing that number outside the St. James Theater, and I believe somewhere in Schubert Alley, and then they walk into the theater, and it's all filmed outside, but the theater has like a screen on the stage where you're seeing all this in like real time. And I just have to imagine that's such like a moment to see live on stage. And the only time I can recall a show ever like doing something similar to this is I saw Network in 2018, and there was a scene with some of the performers where they were like walking outside the theater, and they were filming that and putting that live on stage. And the only difference between that show and Sunset Boulevard is one's a play, one's a musical for one, but the Belasco Theater area, it's like not as congested, and it's like really possible to like do something like that without it like interrupting the performers or being too like chaotic. But the St. James Theater, where that theater is near, and it's very much closer to the Times Square area in a way, and it's just much more congested. There's many more stores around it, theaters, and it's really ambitious, and I just have to applaud the creative team involved in doing that, because that's like a real accomplishment, I'm sure, every moment that number goes successfully in the show, because there's just like a lot going on outside that theater. So that really piqued my interest, and I would love to see that moment live on stage, but probably not going to, because I don't really see shows anymore. But I thought I'd share that in case you weren't aware and that sounded interesting to you. But the next show I will be talking about, trying to remember what I'm talking about today. As you can tell, I didn't plan out what I was going to say in this video, so not only will it be probably a little bit on the longer side, but I'll probably ramble a little bit too much here and there. But if you enjoy hearing about theater, hopefully that's okay. So the next show that I'm talking about today is Tammy Faye, the musical. This is a musical that centers around Tammy Faye Baker, and I'm not really familiar with the story around Tammy Faye Baker. I know that there was a movie made a few years ago where Jessica Chastain won an Oscar award for her performance playing Tammy Faye Baker in a movie, so I should probably watch that. But I know it's an interesting story from what I remember hearing about it. I don't really remember what the story entails. But anyway, so this new musical is going to be the first Broadway production that will play at the new Palace Theater, newly renovated, newly restored Palace Theater, I should say. So that's pretty cool in itself. And, I believe Katie Ben is the performer playing Tammy Faye. She is reprising her role from the London production where she played that part. She won an Olivier Award for that, so that's very cool as well. Some of my favorite performers ever, Christian Borle is going to be playing her husband, and Michael Cervais is going to be in the show as well. Originally, Andrew Reynolds was going to be reprising his role as Tammy Faye Baker's husband in the show, but because he played it in London, but I don't know what happened, but he ended up dropping out, and Christian Borle took over for him in the show. And yeah, I love Christian Borle. He's like one of my favorite Broadway performers. So when I heard that, I was like, I definitely want to see the show now. I'm probably not going to get to see the show, but if I was, this show would definitely be one I want to see. And what really makes me want to see the show even more is Elton John and Jake Shears co-wrote the music for the show, so it's going to have some amazing songs in it. And yeah, I've seen a few commercials and it looks really good. So that's another show. And this show starts, or I guess I should say, it started on October 19th. It started previews because I'm filming this video the next day. So it has started on Broadway. You have a chance to see it now if you want to. And now for the shows that at this point of making this video have not started on Broadway yet. So the show I'm talking about now, if I was seeing shows, this is literally my number one. If I could only see one show right now, it would be this show. Hands down. And that was the stage adaptation of the film Death Becomes Her. This production will be starting on October 23rd, and it's going to be playing at the L'Enfontaine Theater, beautiful theater. And it is going to be starring Megan Hilty, Jennifer Smart, Christopher Sieber, and Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child. So yeah, I want to see this show. I can't tell you how badly I want to see this show. I am somewhat familiar with the story. I know it's based on the film that starred Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, Bruce Willis, and I have not watched the film yet. Now, the reason for this is anytime a show looks interesting to me, even though I'm not seeing shows anymore, more than likely, anytime a show looks interesting to me, it's based on a movie that I haven't seen yet, I kind of wait until I get to see the show, which is probably not going to happen in this case because seeing shows is a part of my past now pretty much, or the show closes and then it's like, well, I can't see it now anyway. Because the only time that I've seen a movie before I saw the show is I saw Dirty Round Scoundrels in 2005, and I saw the movie first, thinking, I wanted to see what the story was about, compare the two, and basically more or less the show very closely followed the film, especially the ending. And so I was not surprised at all at that surprise ending in, the story of Dirty Round Scoundrels. So I'm waiting to watch the film unless I get to see the show, or unfortunately it closes. But I really hope the show has a long run because it looks so good. Anyway, that's why I don't know much about the story. But, I love this cast. Jennifer Smart is one of my favorite Broadway performers. I've seen her in the musical Disaster. And if you saw that show, you know why I am such a fan of hers. She was absolutely hilarious in that show. She was amazing. It's one of those performances, even after all these years, that stands out to me as being like one of my favorite performances I've ever seen on stage. And Megan Hilty, I believe, hasn't been in a Broadway show since 2009 in 9 to 5, so this is like amazing. And then Christopher Sieber, such a fan of his, saw him in Into the Woods and The Prom, and yeah, he's just this cast is just like absolutely amazing to me. It just, hopefully I get to see the show. but it starts just in time for the Halloween season, and the show feels like it kind of has like a spooky like kind of vibe to it. So super cool. And yeah, the commercials just look so good as well, you know. Ugh, can't say enough great things about the show that I haven't seen that I really want to see, but this is my #1 show that I would love to see. So the last show that I will be talking about today is the new Broadway revival of Gypsy. This new Broadway revival is going to star Audrey McDonald and Danny Bernstein and Joy Woods. This new Broadway revival of Gypsy is also going to play at the Majestic Theater. This is the first show to play at the Majestic Theater since Phantom of the Opera. I believe the theater has undergone a massive renovation, so, you know, that's pretty amazing. And I myself got to see Gypsy twice on Broadway, actually. I saw it in 2003 with Bernard Peters and 2008 with Patti LuPone. You definitely, wait, I talked about Gypsy in my time. I wasn't sure if that I talked about Gypsy yet in my Broadway show series, but yes, I have. But yeah, so you can check my thoughts out, you know, when I saw Gypsy in 2003 in my Broadway show series. You know, if you're curious my thoughts on it. Haven't talked about the 2008 production yet. But, yeah, Gypsy is a show that I really like, and, you know, is not a show I would necessarily feel the need to want to see again. But when I heard, you know, the cast for this show, and I heard that it was going to be the first show playing at the newly renovated Majestic Theater, I was like, sign me up. Also, I do feel like this is like just such a strong cast, and I would love to see it. Oh my gosh. All of it sounds just really amazing. And yeah, this video is super long because, like I said, I did not plan out what I was going to say. But if you like Broadway, and you like theater, and you like someone who has no idea what they're saying when they're saying it, talking about the theater, hopefully this video is interesting and fun. If not, I'm sure you got a good laugh out of it because, like I said, I didn't know what I was saying half the time. Didn't plan out what I was going to say. But, you know, I'm not sure when I'll talk about Broadway again on my channel. I might make a video. Actually, scratch that. I might make a video where I talk about some of the shows closing on Broadway in case you weren't aware, because I myself, you know, don't keep up with Broadway openings and closings as much as I used to, seeing as I don't really see shows anymore. But, you know, in case you are seeing shows still, like, congrats for you. I'm so happy for you. Yeah, you know, it's hard to keep up with all the dates for everything. So I might make a video, you know, about some of the shows closing in case you weren't aware. You know, some shows that, you know, might look interesting to you that you weren't aware of closing. I don't know. I'm going to end this video now because clearly this video's, I'm rambling. So yeah, if you made this point of the video, I really do thank you because I highly doubt anyone is watching at this point. So I hope you get to see one of the shows that I talked about today, and I hope you like it. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Okay, bye.